Good morning. My name is Matthew Devine, and this is Leadership Impact. If you're here, then you already know that leadership is simply more than a promotion and ordering people about. You know that leadership takes work and that you take that responsibility seriously. However, if you only ever focus on leadership tips and best practice such as how to run a meeting or how to give proper feedback, then you can only ever hope to be an okay manager. And that's fine. Being an okay manager is fine. That's often better than most managers out there. And your people will still benefit from that knowledge and you trying to apply it in the workplace. The thing is, you may have all the best top 10 lists of how to be a great manager, but what do you do when a completely new, complicated, hairball messy challenge walks through your office door and you have no pre-made solution ready? Your employees are real people. They're not machines. They have real issues that need to be solved, and they're going to be complicated. They're not going to fit neatly into a box, and you can't always apply a plug-and-play solution to make it work. It's nice when it works. It's great when that happens, but you can't guarantee that it's going to work. Your solution needs to support them, but it also needs to be fair and respectful to your other employees. And it has to be practical. After all, you're running a business, and this is likely issue number 47 you're working on today. Ultimately, your solution may not end up being perfect. But your solution needs to get your employee close to being better, getting a better outcome, and helping them move forward. What do you rely on when a pre-made solution won't work? Today, I want to talk about leadership principles. Principles are ideals to strive toward. If we're imagining the best version of ourselves, the most perfect, idealized version of ourselves, what would that person stand for? What would they believe? What would they do? A principle is an abstract concept that represents the perfect, the unchanging ideal. It is something that can exist and apply no matter the situation and no matter the people involved. It will always be available to you, and you can use it in every situation. That's what makes a principle valuable, is that it's always there for you. When you look at a situation, you can ask yourself, if I honor this principle, what does that mean I can do or should do in this situation? Or for that matter, what does it mean that you shouldn't do? What do you need to avoid if you are honoring that principle? It's a way of measuring if you are on the right path or not. Now, you can make the tactical choices that will help solve the individual issue, but if you're honoring that principle as you're working to deal with the messy situation of human reality, then you're moving in the right direction. Again, nothing is going to be perfect. The thing is that the principle is like a lighthouse that you're aiming towards. It's the beacon on the hill. It's the destination at the end of a long roadway that you can see on the horizon. You can see it out there, and you're like, I am headed in that direction. That's my principle. But the ocean that you're on is turbulent, and you're going to have to adjust your sails to move in the right direction. The road you're on may curve back and forth, but you can see on the horizon, you're still moving in the right direction. That's what a principle is. Now, to help you, I want to share with you 7 leadership principles. Now, these are ideas that I've cultivated over 18 years of leadership experience across multiple organizations. And coming from an HR background, I have benefited from seeing lots and lots of examples of good leadership great leadership and unfortunately sometimes terrible leadership. So obviously we're not going to be emphasizing terrible leadership. We want to do don't do those terrible things. Here are the 7 leadership principles. 1, people first. 2, lead by example. 3, listen, then speak. 4, check your biases. 5, generosity. 6, articulate vision. And 7, self-development. I'm going to go through each one of them, so don't worry. First off, people first. The very essence of leadership is leading people. I feel like that's self-evident, but I think it's important to underline this because you could work your team to death and achieve a great result, but what are you left with? Yeah, you have a thing that your team has made. Great, you've got that thing. But if your people are burned out, they've left, or otherwise they're completely disengaged, if you haven't supported your people, you're a terrible manager. No one will want to work with you. And you're not going to be able to repeat that success over and over and over again. Great, you got it the one time, but what did you destroy along the way? The goal is to have a team that will stand up and face challenges together, that will adapt to situations, to support each other through unexpected and difficult times. And they can only do that if they trust one another and they trust that you will help them through it. This doesn't mean you're always going to make your team happy. You're still the leader. You still need to make difficult decisions. And sometimes that means making people unhappy. For example, you may end up having to terminate one of your employees. That's not going to make them happy. But if they trust you, they will respect those difficult decisions. And building that trust takes time. It takes investment. It takes showing up and showing that you've got their back and that you're helping them day in and day out, so that when they get to those difficult instances, when they encounter those unknown situations that no one's dealt with before, they know that they will get through it because you're there to help them, and they know you will help them. Put your people first. Number 2, lead by example. If you expect a certain behavior from your team, you need to demonstrate it. You want your team to show up on time? You need to show up on time. You want your team to be responsive to issues? You need to be responsive to issues. You want your team to communicate when they make a mistake? You need to admit making mistakes yourself. You don't need to know everything, and you don't have to necessarily have all the right skills. For that matter, your team may have very specialized skills, very specialized knowledge that you're relying on them to help bring to the issues of the day. You're not necessarily, that's not your job, is to be the be all and end all of knowing everything. So your people are still going to be specialized in their knowledge and their capabilities. The principle is about demonstrating the behavior that you want to see. And this means going first. It means risking yourself, possibly embarrassing yourself, to show others that it is okay to do the thing that needs to be done. And it's easier for them when they see that you've done it first. And in situations where no one's done this before, and you're expecting them to step into the unknown, you need to be there with them, talking about how you know this is a new situation. Let's work through this together, so that they know that you're at their side as you move through that unknown situation. That builds their trust, but it also shows that you are leading them through a difficult situation. And when they encounter a situation they've never dealt with before and you've dealt with it, this is your opportunity to provide guidance. In some cases, you may be providing instructions on how to do that steps. Sometimes it may be simply coaching and saying, okay, this is an unknown situation. I know you've got it. Here's some things you may want to focus on as you solve the problem. but you're supporting them as they move through. You're leading them by example. I'll give you a different example. Years ago, I was a trainer at a water park. This is a job I held when I was in university, and my job was to instruct all the lifeguards at this water park. There was 187 lifeguards. I was accountable for making sure they were all trained. And we had a wave pool, and all of our training was often conducted in the wave pool first thing in the morning. You have to imagine, first thing in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's cold. No one wants to jump in the water at that time. They're still waking up. I was the one who stepped out on the bulkhead and jumped into the water first, because if I was not willing to put myself in that situation, why should I expect them to follow me? Why should I expect them to listen to my instruction if I wasn't willing to make a sacrifice and, in a sense, in this case, suffer with them in the cold water? So lead by example. Leadership principle number 3, listen, then speak. Now, managers, people who are promoted into manager positions are usually geared toward taking action. The emphasis on you making decisions, solving problems. After all, those are the qualities that got you promoted in the first place. You're doing well as an employee. You've got a lot of really good skills in one area. And when you show up as a manager, you bring that energy and that kind of capability to the table. The problem is when you're in a meeting with your employee or your employees, often that shows up as soon as they speak, you're now coming up with solutions, making decisions, pointing them in the right direction, trying to be as efficient and effective as possible. The problem is you're not listening. You're not listening when you do that. It takes a bit of practice, but it's important to understand what the real issue is, what the real problem is. Otherwise, you end up making the wrong decisions and solving the wrong problem. You need to slow down. You need to listen to what people are saying. You may have an idea of what they're going on about, but you need to be sure. Ask clarifying questions. Ask them to expand on the issue. Be curious about different dimensions of what they're talking about so that you can see the shape of the problem, so you can see all the aspects that may be coming into play, and then you can figure out, okay, if we make this solution, if we make this decision, then that's going to affect things in a certain way. But if we make a different decision, it's going to affect things in a different way. You need to make sure that you're moving in the right direction. But that only comes when you slow down and listen. This is going to take practice because your base instinct is get into action, solve the problem, get moving, get on to the next thing. This has the additional benefit. Not only are you solving the right problem, it has the additional benefit that you are developing trust with your employees. They will feel like you're actually listening to them because you are. They will feel seen because you are taking the time to pay attention to them. This will build trust. And it means they will feel more comfortable bringing information to you. And as you ask questions, they will also learn how to present information to you so they can give you the information you need so that you can solve the problem that they have. The other benefit to this is that it helps you actually be a better coach to work towards building proper performance. If you're able to listen to the problem, figure out what the issue is, figure out how you can move them forward, that starts with listening. Listen first, then speak. Number 4, check your biases. You're human. I hope you're human. You're human. You have assumptions about the world, about the job, about your colleagues. We all have assumptions. Part of that helps us make, things a little bit more efficient as we're moving through the world. But recognize that these are just assumptions. What do you actually know? Is this assumption you hold about the other person actually true? They may annoy you. You may be dealing with somebody who annoys you, and you may have this picture in your mind that this is an annoying person. And they may trigger you. But are they actually annoying, or are you just bothered by aspects of their behavior? But they themselves as people may actually be intelligent, capable, qualified, and actually working toward the same goal as you are. But you're hung up on some annoying behavior that you're seeing. Is that assumption getting in your way of making effective choices, communicating with them effectively? Is that an assumption? I'll give you an example. I was working on one team, and this team has to interface with a different team, but there actually are very few connection points between the two teams. And unfortunately, because the teams are working separately, there's a lot of unknown and a lot of assumptions that are happening about what the other team is all about. What are they doing? Are they disorganized? Are they rude? Are they unprofessional? And we make these assumptions about the other team. And I know the other team are making the same assumptions about us. And the reality is it's not true. Both teams are hard at work trying to solve their respective issues. But because the nature of how these teams are interconnected or linked, there is a natural animosity and mistrust that has evolved, this sense that we have to be in conflict. And my role, my goal is to get past those assumptions and really focus on what is the problem we're trying to solve and get some wins on the table, get some collaboration happening so that the teams can start seeing actually we are trustworthy and they are trustworthy and that we can work together. So check your biases, check your assumptions. Number 5, generosity. If you are holding on to information to make yourself more valuable, maybe it's, you have access to the right information, the right people, but you're hoarding that because you want people to come to you as being the valuable resource, the expert. That may make you valuable in the short term, but it's going to make your leadership extremely brittle, because what will happen is that your team is you are going to be a point of failure in that organization. If you leave or something happens to you, then that information is no longer accessible, it's no longer useful, and no one else is going to be able to pick up after you leave. It's a short-term thinking coming from a place of insecurity. Instead, leadership is about growing your team. It means sharing what you know, letting them in, helping them understand, showing them how to do things. You want to be giving them as many resources as possible to help them do their job and do it in the right way. The more they know, the more they can do. And the more they can do, the more adaptable they are and ensure that they are working towards solving the right problems, getting to the right goals. Building that trust comes from sharing that information. This could look as simple as simply just here's the information in the file, move forward with it. It's about giving them the actual data, giving them the knowledge, giving them the tools. It can be simple as that. But sometimes it's about sharing perspective. For instance, you have the opportunity to let them into what is the thinking of the senior leadership team. Maybe not the confidential bits, definitely not the confidential bits, but get them into the headspace of what is the organization trying to do? Why are they making the decisions they're making? And how does that apply into your team? Help them understand the larger picture. Be generous with sharing that view of the world, the view of the organization, because it means that when they are making their own individual choices about the work they do and how they do their work, they now know, okay, I'm doing this small task here, but it's helping this larger vision. And they can then make the choices that help the larger vision. That only comes when you share that perspective. So number 5, generosity. Number 6, articulate your vision. Everyone needs to be moving in the same direction. If this business thing is going to work, if you're going to reach your goals, you need to make sure everyone's moving in the same direction. And you may assume everyone knows what the team should be doing. But do you know for sure? Articulating your vision is about helping ensure everyone's efforts are being applied in the right way. This means explaining what the tactical goals are, what are you actually trying to achieve, in what sort of time frame, and what does that outcome look like? What does success look like? What does good look like? Explaining what those tactical elements of the work are, so they know when they are working on their job, they're like, okay, that's the goal, that's the ideal, that's what I'm striving towards. Wonderful. They also need to know, what is the bigger mission? Yeah, you may be working toward achieving this short-term tactical goal that needs to be done within the quarter. But what is the overall mission? Where are you going on the long term? Why are you even doing this? Are you just hamsters on a wheel, repeatedly doing the same thing? Where is it all going? Help them see where they're going. Because you may be surprised that some employees may think they are doing a different job, that their goals are different than what you expect. Their standards are different than what you expect. The outcomes of their performance, what they think meeting expectations means, they may have a different vision than that. So you want to be communicating what you mean clearly, and then checking their understandings. What do you think our goal is? What do you think we're ultimately working toward? What does good look like in your opinion? Check with them. Make sure that they understand the vision. And number 7, self-development. Now this may seem a little bit weird when we're talking about leadership, because leadership is often, as I said at the beginning, is about people. It's about leading their people. But that only comes with you being better yourself. You are part of the equation. You're part of the team. And leadership doesn't end at the promotion. As soon as you get promoted, that doesn't mean like, job done, you're finished, you know everything you ever need to know about being a leader. No, you don't. You've started. That's the start. Getting a promotion is the start of the journey. And it is a craft that you need to practice day in, day out, over time to get better at. You need to learn leadership. Read books. Listen to podcasts, watch YouTube trainer videos, attend training. If the company offers developmental training, take the training. Pay attention to where your skills are. Where are you lacking capability? Where are you insecure? And start developing in those areas, exposing yourself to the knowledge and a chance to learn, and be messy for a bit while you learn. This may be developing your communication skills. I took an improv class as a way of becoming a better manager because I wanted to be a better communicator. Practice. Maybe practice in front of speaking in front of people, for instance. It could be applying different leadership techniques. How does it work with your team? What is this applicable or not? Read papers. Work on your issues as well. More than just knowledge. We have our own challenges we're overcoming, our own insecurities. Many managers find themselves in a position where they're afraid. They think they're an imposter. What do I know about leadership? I don't know anything. I'm just making it up as I go along. They feel like they don't deserve to be in that place. It's important to work on those, to talk about them. And you can build the connections with your peer level managers, make those connections, work with your manager, find a mentor to help support you. Work with a coach. There are many coaches out there that are, their whole job is about helping support you become a better leader. Have somebody you trust you can talk to about the difficult issues, difficult challenges you're facing, so that you can be better the next time around. Don't feel like you have to do this alone. And the better you are, the better you can be for your entire team. That wraps up the 7 leadership principles in review. Number 1, people first. Number 2, lead by example. Number 3, listen first, then speak. Number 4, check your biases and assumptions. Number 5, be generous. Number 6, articulate your vision. And number 7, self-development. These are ideals for you to strive toward as you are in a leadership role. These are things that are going to see you through difficult situations and unknown situations. When you don't know how to handle a situation, how does leading by example apply? What does it mean to be generous in this difficult situation? It gives you a way to move forward. So what principles do you stand by in your leadership? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to carry on this conversation, please send me a direct message. Let's get on a call. Let's chat. And until next time, let's get to work.